Welcome back to the Playbook podcast. With me, Sharon, the founders of Builder Studio, where we empower entrepreneurs to build stellar companies. And in this Playbook podcast, we talk to key players from the tech industry about their journey, tactics, strategies, learnings from the field, aka Playbooks. Today, I talk to Camille. Camille,
Yeah.
you could briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah. So my name is Camille Richardson. I'm the founder of Voyin. Voyin is a travel app. Maybe we can talk about it a little bit later.
We're going to get that to the end.
Yeah, for sure.
And my previous company was Onefit, which I started in 2012. Before that, I was a professional basketball player and did some other stuff and so on. But I'm 48 years old, 3 children, a daughter, 6, 2 twin boys, which was a shock when I found out. And all during like a merger and with hectic times. But that's pretty.
Oh, it all happened at the same time.
Yeah, everything happened, and then also we moved from one house to another house, and this totally renovated from scratch. So it was
You thought, let's
busy time.
do it all together.
Yeah. It's a perfect thing to do.
Yeah, great. But then from pro baller to pro startup founder, how did this transition happen for you? That's where it started.
For the uninitiated baller, basketballer, right?
Yeah, basketballer,
Okay,
yeah.
No, so I think it went pretty naturally, to be honest. I just really enjoyed playing basketball. I played in the Netherlands. I played on the highest level, but Netherlands is not, wasn't doing that well.
And did you do
then.
it from like your childhood?
When I was 13, I was combining basketball with playing tennis. And then my parents said, you have to choose. So it was quite difficult, to be honest. And in the end, I chose for basketball because I liked playing in a team, the dynamics are like
team player.
Different, exactly. So I chose to, and then I was pretty good at it. But I like to do all kinds of stuff. So I also was in a boy band.
Boy band?
Yes.
Hold up.
I was in a boy band, and I also had to go to school, of course. I like playing tennis. I like playing basketball. So I couldn't really commit myself just to doing one thing. So I was exploring like different stuff. And then, but I was pretty good because I'm like pretty driven. So if I do something, I do it like with a lot of passion.
Yep.
And if you do something with a lot of passion, then you become, pretty good at it, I think, at some point. So then I was pretty good at playing basketball. So then they asked me if I wanted to play professionally. And I didn't even cross my mind back then, to be honest, because I felt like I just like it. I like playing ball, but I don't need to play professionally. But in the end, I said, yeah, why not? Why not? Now, why not do that? So, and then once I do something, I do it pretty dedicated.
Full passion, all your energy, let's go.
Yeah, so I did that for quite a while. Played for different teams in the Netherlands, played for the national team a few years.
Omniverse, I saw.
Yeah, and then at some point I finished my school because I was studying in Nijmegen at the university, and then it was really easy to combine, with playing ball because I practiced like twice a day. In the weekend, we had games. But then I said, okay, what's now? What's next?
Yeah.
And just to go like fully professional in the Netherlands is pretty difficult. I was making some money, but not enough just to go, do whatever I wanted.
No, it's not what you compare with like all the others.
No,
right?
And if you go, of course, there are ways that you can make way more if you go play for bigger teams, in Europe. But that wasn't really my passion back then.
And is it then covering like your regular cost, or is it just like below that even?
So I think there were some play. I don't know what they pay now, but back then it was quite a while ago.
Yeah.
You had some players who could really make up to 100K a year. More or less, 120K a year, maybe a little bit more.
But it's not like something really exclusive.
No, and 100K back then was way more than it is now, of course.
Yeah, for sure.
But I was just making like 2,000. I had a car, I had an apartment, and that's pretty much what it was, And then I had my scholarship, still, which I had to pay back. You know?
I can understand that keeps your thinking, like, what's next?
Yeah, exactly. So and then I went to do a regular job on the side when I finished my studies, which was extremely boring. And then I really felt like, what the fuck is this? You know, is this
Is this life?
Is this life? Is this how I end up? You know, working for a company for the rest of my life. So so that was pretty difficult. And then also like combining basketball with the regular job, it was even, you know, it was
Harder.
pretty tough.
Yeah.
So then I at some point said, okay, hey, can I combine those two?
So you quit your job.
No, because I was already, I think I was, late 30s, early 30s. So I felt like, how much more life is there in my basketball career,
athlete
you know?
Career, yeah.
So I quit playing ball professionally. And then I didn't play ball for 3 years. And then after 3 years, I've started playing, you know, for fun again. And I really enjoyed it. So then I already knew that I wanted to do something for myself. Like I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't have a clue what to do. So I just started, you know, at a company called OMD. It was a media agency in Amstelveen. It was extremely boring for me. You know, I felt
You founded it? Is that what you're saying?
No, it was a terrible job. And then, and one cool thing was that I was invited as a Rookie of the Year award to join Boomerang. I think it's a sales trick.
Yeah.
But anyways, I was, you know, asked by Boomerang to join them on a trip to Barcelona, which was super cool. I really enjoyed it. And then that's where I met Serge. And I remember, like, we were walking in Barcelona, and I didn't even know that Serge was the owner or CEO of Boomerang. So, hey, nice, man, you also a Rookie of the Year award. That was because Serge back then looked like super young. He still looks young, you know, but he aged some. Had some,
Yeah, of course.
But he looked like super young. So and then he said, "No, I'm the owner of I'm CEO of Boomerang." Oh, really? Oh, so we really had a click already, like from
the
that
first
moment.
seconds.
Yes.
Wait, somebody took you to Barcelona for fun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then, I don't know, a few weeks later, I was called by the commercial officer of Boomerang if I was up to work for them on a sales job. I was like, no, sales, man. It's like extremely boring. I have to call people and sell
I'm seeing
them
a team
stuff.
here, right? Yeah.
But then I figured, like, okay, hey, if you want to do, you know, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to, you know, you have to sell.
Most important thing.
You have to sell.
It will always come back. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why I felt, why not, man? Let's give it a shot. And I'm super competitive, so
That fits your profile.
yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't say I want to have the biggest, you know, turnover in every month. Or like, you know, if I go for something, I go like all in. So in the end, I kind of liked it because I did well. You know, I was performing pretty good. You know, and then you have the numbers. You know, with basketball also, I like to have stats, so you can see like, okay, I scored like 25 points, like 12 rebounds, so many assists.
You still take that into that job to begin with? Is that mindset a thing, or?
What do you mean? What's
Oh, look, you did the athlete part. And you said, hey, when I'm going to go pro. When you went from pro, you went into jobs. Did you take that mindset with you, or is it the data thinking that, hey, I want more numbers?
So, yeah. So I also cycle, and I really like the numbers in cycling. I mean, you have so many
split times, everything.
Yeah. So you have your heart rate, you have your cadence, you have your watts that you produce, and so on. It's like, and I check those numbers every day and see how I progress or, you know, decline. It's also possible if I don't train a lot. So I like to look at numbers, yes. But I think the mindset is more just, I hate losing. You know, I really hate losing. I can't stand losing. And I'm really a bad loser, you know? And even if I play with my young kids,
get angry?
I have a hard time letting them win. Really, I have a really struggling to let them win. So I think that's the mindset that you have as a professional athlete. That,
you bring it into a sales job.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
Yeah, and also I think like entrepreneurship it's really a struggle. You know, you will face like so many
setbacks. It's painful for most. Yeah,
and I think you only can overcome those if you are like a It's really, really
You hold up,
powerful
because
drive.
you're still in sales in this story, right? So,
Oh yeah.
are you becoming an entrepreneur yet? What's happening? This is fast.
How did
Those
that
learnings
connect?
came fast.
So yeah, so the
Sales
story
job
was
with Serge.
yeah. So I met Serge at Boomerang.
And what were you selling exactly at Boomerang? Because for those who don't know Boomerang,
Yeah, Boomerang were gift cards.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's where they came from.
Yeah,
Later
they were
on, it
huge
was also
back then, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Later on, it was also posters and stuff like that. But in the beginning, it was pretty much gift cards.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty difficult product to sell, because it's not really, you cannot measure the impact of a gift card that's in a bar, right? It's difficult to measure it. But anyway, so I had a really good click with Serge, and I also had the opportunity to do some small startup things within Boomerang, because at some point I really felt like, hey, I mean, cool, those gift cards, but
I can do more.
What's next?
it's gonna end at some point. That's also what we said about newspapers, but newspapers still here. I think also Boomerang is still here. They're still selling like gift cards. So I get the opportunity to do some stuff together with Serge, and then we just had like a great click. And then Serge left Boomerang, and I left also went to some online agency called Web Ads. At that moment, we already said, okay, we just now parting our ways, but we're going to do something together. And then, I think 1 or 2 years later, we had the idea that we wanted to make fitness or sports, doing sports flexible, like fitness mainly. And then we went for it.
And was it already an idea back then? Or was that an idea that did grow at that specific time? That you were sitting together and thinking like, hey, now we need to think of something? Or was it already there back in?
No, I think it was already like kind of creating in the back of our heads, even though we weren't aware of it. Because also like back in the days, there were more hybrid deals, based on, fixed, you buy a campaign, you pay part fixed, and a part based on the conversion that you realize.
Yeah.
And then also we had a network within the gyms, mainly also like a gift card network, but also like posters.
For real?
Yeah. And then we saw that those gyms have a huge problem with keeping their members. So every year there was tons of churn.
Churn, and in January it's busy again, and then in February no one is there.
Exactly. And the walk-ins were getting less, so they had more problems to, first of all, keep their members, and then also like to acquire new members. So we felt like, hey, there's something, maybe we can help them, to.
And it was the first thing that came to mind when you and Serge were talking about this.
The first idea, you mean?
Yeah.
Or,
I mean, why did you decide to go with this one, or was it just this one?
I think also what helped was I'm passionate about doing sports.
Yeah.
So I think there was definitely, and I think I know what needs to be done to enable people to keep doing sports.
Yeah. Very relatable subject to begin with.
Yeah. So I think that kind of resonated really with me as a person. But then again, it could be in the end, it can be anything. I don't really care about the idea as long as I believe in it and I just want to.
Damn.
I want to go for it. I think that's the.
So how did you kick that one off? Did you do that on your own dime, or got help from investors?
I didn't have money, so I had like maybe a few thousand in my bank account. So that's
something
what I
left from his pro baller moments, his rich moments.
So we did that. We didn't pay ourselves for months, and then but we had to build we had to build a platform. So that's kind of cost, right?
Yeah, build it probably first, then validate it, right?
Yeah. So what was interesting, I already had the idea that back then you had like those RFID chips.
Yeah.
And I already thought like, okay, and it was pretty, upcoming. So I thought, hey, nice if we have an RFID chip. And it's gonna migrate to a phone, which I already knew. So but in the beginning we can just go with a card and then people can just blip. And then we have, this physical thingy on the desk.
Sure, hardware, great idea.
So then I contacted this company who was producing those cards. And then I saw that they also had a gift card network within supermarkets. And then I thought, I'm just thinking, right, out loud. And then I figure like, okay, all those gift cards. Many people buy gift cards, but they don't use them, right? So you could, pay your company, but if people buy a gift card, they don't use it, and then this how we could
Scale the business.
scale the business, at least in the beginning, so we don't have to raise that much money.
How did it work out?
So I reach out to this company, say, hey guys, this is our idea. We need a small investment. We need some cash. What do you guys think? And 2 weeks later, we had our first cash. So they invested, and still super happy that they did back then. So they gave us a lot of trust. And the funny thing was that
Feels a bit like a lucky shot.
I think it was a lucky
Yeah.
shot. Yeah, sure. I don't know. I don't really believe in that. Yeah, it could be luck. I don't know. But anyway, so like a few weeks before, there was another guy who later ended up to have Sportegoed, which was, I think he was a CEO of Technogym,
Yeah.
who also went to them, to have a chat about this idea that they had.
Yeah.
And then exactly the same idea, we pitched to the same persons, and I think they missed out on the opportunity then.
passed.
And then they passed, and then they came up with probably luck, maybe, I don't know, some energy in the sky, whatever.
It was the right timing for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we raised our first capital to build the MVP.
So a very unconventional way of validating, right? Pitching an idea, getting the capital, and then going for it.
Yeah.
So you're now building it, right? So you're building this platform out. Did you do the hardware part first, like the RFID cards? That where you started with?
Yeah.
So I can imagine that scale's pretty shitty.
Yeah.
I mean,
I see a headache coming back.
Yeah.
Look, the idea sounds very tangible, which is always it just
That's the best
it
feeling
speaks
you can
volumes.
get.
It speaks volumes, right? You can touch it. So you start rolling this thing out. When was the moment you thought, this is gonna work, or maybe not gonna work at all?
So I think. So I had a problem. I think already a gut feeling problem in the beginning, which I moved away, which I passed on. At least, would I buy it myself? I buy the product myself? I think not. But there are many people who will buy it. I won't buy it, but many people will buy it. Because I do, if I do sports, I go all in, and then if I go all in, and then we had like the prepaid model in the beginning. So and then if you calculate it, like
And prepaid would be that the customers would, get
they
some
buy just a 10 times pass,
more
whatever
gift
they
card than
put-
subscription.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
There
top
you
up a
go.
card, and then they go and go and pay per visit. That was our initial idea.
Nothing to lose, basically.
Exactly. So it was called like Onefit Prepaid Fitness.
Yeah.
And and initially, if you go more than 3 times a month, you would pay like 10 to $7.50 per entry.
Yeah, sure.
Then of course, like if you start calculating, like think, okay, if I go 4 times, it's more. It makes more sense to buy a membership.
There you go.
And even though we both kind of, I think, knew, we just kept on. No, this gonna work, man.
Push the
And we were
hardware.
like old school, like, we did like a big campaign in Amsterdam, a marketing campaign that for us, like huge,
Yeah.
40K, but we had like a network in.
But 40K, it is kind of huge for a
Yeah,
startup.
yeah. So we did 40K, Amsterdam, billboards, everywhere in the city.
Go
like,
all out.
I don't know how you call them, stijgendoeken, I don't know. We had everything, like.
The whole 9 yards.
We were truly believers that this would work out. And of course, we had like a network within the media industry, so we could buy stuff like pretty cheap. But still, and also January is like a bad month of advertising for us. So for us, it was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing happened.
So you did a lot.
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
Not even like customers, nothing.
Nothing happened. Yeah, a few. I mean, of course,
Yeah.
we had a business plan. Like the first month, 1,000, second month, 2,000.
You could count it on your hands.
Yeah,
So a lot of focus on the consumer side, I imagine, right?
only focus on consumers. Yeah.
And you had the gyms already. That was all set up.
Yeah, I mean, the marketplace is difficult. It's difficult. But there's supply and demand. And of course, like some of the gyms said that, yeah, whatever. We're not going to do that. You're going to cannibalize our own business. Or they say, well, yeah, you don't have any customers. So.
No, but when you have the customers, the gyms will come.
Exactly. So in the beginning, you have the more entrepreneurial kind of, one owner firms, a family, first movers, as you have with consumers in general as well. And then later on, you have, the bigger chains will join. And then in the end, everybody wants to join because they want a piece of the pie.
So now you spend 40K, quite a piece of money.
Yeah.
And then what? Because, if it converts to 2 customers, they're,
No, I mean...
Cost per customer is pretty high.
Yeah, so I mean, pretty much everything we did, the return on investments was just shit. Like, I think what worked best for us were our social media posts, like Facebook posts.
Yep.
We got a lot of likes. We got a lot of likes. People liked our content, but didn't buy our product.
Engagement was amazing.
So you went from sales, marketing in your background, right? And then the one thing that didn't work.
Yeah.
So what?
So that was super frustrating.
Yeah,
of course.
I can imagine.
And then I always spend like time on figuring out like what to do, talking to customers, and figuring out what we need to change on the product to make it work. And we saw like a few things that we saw is like the boutique fitness industry was like really building up. And also another thing that we saw is that people were having Onefit on the site. So people were having a membership or like a membership with the gym or like or with the
main
yoga
place
studio.
to go to. Yeah.
And then they had a Onefit so they could easily, do
some
other
different
stuff on the
yeah.
site. And the more supply we got, the more, demand it generated. And it kind of only worked in Amsterdam. But not at an extent that we would say, wow, now we have something like, wow, it goes on fire. It was growing, but it was growing pretty slow. And
were you comparing yourself to back then already to the bigger players across the pond, right? Like a ClassPass or something, or is it?
Yeah, the ClassPass did exactly the same. They started at the same time as we did. They went through the same kind of experience and iterations, only they had way more cash, and the market was way bigger than ours. And that was the biggest difference.
Yeah, there was even a point that you even looked at like both brands and it felt a bit the same.
Yeah. But that was quite late, it was quite late in the journey. In the beginning, they also started like with the 10 times pass for $99.
So wait, before you go to that fit moment, right? That it did work. What were you thinking in that point in time? Because it feels like you put a lot of energy in it, and you're a data guy and you're driven.
Back then, I think back then I was less data-driven.
Because you couldn't find any data.
Keep going.
Yeah, there was no data. Huh?
So keep going until it works. Did you do incremental changes for yourself?
No, we changed all the time. Like I was always busy with like changing stuff. Like even with the with the gift card, there was also a funny story. So we went also like. So we invested 50K in gift cards. So you have to buy those, cards, and then you have to put them in the supermarket. And one of our investors
always pre-financing.
Yeah. So we spent like 50K on supermarkets or something like that. I guess maybe it was a little bit less, but around that number.
It's good for the story.
And then nobody bought our card. We were like, what the fuck? All those, because we had the numbers of all the other gift cards, right? So because the investor, they were doing the how do you say that? Anyways, they were doing those gift cards. They printed those gift cards. They knew like how many were sold and so on.
Of course,
even the most terrible, shitty gift cards, they sell. And we were like, what the fuck? Why does our gift card don't sell? We have a beautiful design, looks
it's all about
cool.
the design.
You have the RFID and so on. Why people don't buy our card? And then we said, okay, fuck it. We're gonna change it into sport. I don't know even the name. Gezond en sportief. That was the name. So we said, okay,
healthy and fit.
Healthy and fit, yes. And then they made the card green instead of Onefit blue. Like you couldn't even see it was a Onefit thingy. Only if you opened up the envelope, then you see like a Onefit card.
Yeah.
So let's see if that works. I mean, it didn't cost us that much because you could. Anyways, it didn't cost us that much to experiment with that. Nobody bought the card. So what the fuck we need to do? Do we have to say like sauna card? Because the sauna card was selling. But I mean, to say, okay, we have a sauna card and only so many saunas in our network, not really that much. I don't know, that was bridge too far, I would
But
say.
it's nice experimenting, right? You're putting it in front of the end user.
Yeah,
and seeing if it works.
yeah. So, but we already knew it works, but we don't have saunas. So, I mean, yeah, then what? Yeah, you. Anyway, so, and then also we called like a company who was doing the gift cards for Albert Heijn.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I phoned them up, Black Hawk, they called. I phoned them up, hey, listen, we are selling our gift cards in the C1000, Super de Boer, Bruna, I don't know, all those stores. We also would like to have a gift card in Albert Heijn. And he was like pretty short in his answer, said, we tested it, it doesn't work. And we like, fuck that, man. That was before we even, put the 50K on gift cards.
Yeah.
We said like, we tested it, that doesn't work. And we just didn't listen. Or didn't ask, like, okay, we didn't ask, okay, why didn't it work? Can you explain me why it didn't work? And then then I quit with the story, but then I was picking up the phone myself, because it was me and Sarah. We had an intern, so then I was picking up the phone and somebody calls, said, hey, I bought this gift card from you guys, Camille. And my girlfriend got really mad at me because he bought it for his girlfriend. Because she thought I felt like she's fat. She needs to go to.
Oh, you're gifting not somebody something for good.
Gifting
but maybe
like for sports is I think that's probably is
emotion.
Yeah, so that was the problem.
Really. So,
That was the problem. Yeah, and then if you make it like fit and healthy, you give the same.
Yeah, exactly. You give the same.
Yeah. Oh
right.
my God.
Help me out with this one. So you're doing gift cards. Doesn't really work. Apparently, as competitive as you are, you're also learning by doing, right? So if you bump your head, that's the biggest learning.
Yeah.
I like that. So what did you do with that bumping of the head? How did you go from that point to what you would call, I would say, product market fit, right? That it did work out because you're doing for some reason, I don't know why, but the marketplace model, right? Working with a consumer on the one end and working with, a B2B play on the other.
Some hardware involved.
Some hardware.
You make it like the most complex you can.
Yeah.
And what was the moment that you felt like, this is it? Now it's going to change.
Yeah, it was so we burned all our cash. And we were pretty desperate. Said, "Fuck, man!" So we went to the investors, and we had like one last idea. We said, "Okay, we want to try this, but we need another 50 to do it."
for cards.
No, not for cards. No.
We make it purple. We make it purple.
Not for cards, but and then we wanted to pivot to a membership model because we felt like, hey, fuck it, man. We already have all those gyms in the network. We didn't talk to the gyms. We said, like, hey, let's just do it. Let's put everything in the membership.
Yep.
We're not going to tell like the gyms that we're going to do it. We're just going to do it and let's see what happens. So we did that. And once we did that, like the first month, we sold like 17 memberships. And the second month, 34. And then it was 70. And then it went to 250. I don't know, something along those lines. It more than doubled like every month.
Every month.
And then, of course, also in the membership structure, you also have like the memberships that didn't churn from last month.
Yeah.
So then finally we had some,
You saw the curve.
some traction. And then, then I felt like, okay, now we are on something.
So where did you spend the money on to get to that traction?
This 50K.
Yeah. So you went to the investors, you gave them that promise, yeah.
What was the plan?
Yeah, what was it? So we, I think we had to probably also like pay some, some debt from the past. We had to make some iterations on the platform to allow. We had to change like how the website looked like,
Membership structure,
the story. Then we didn't spend any marketing money. Actually,
It was just a
more
total strategy
operations.
change.
Yeah. So then finally,
So it's weird though, right? You would expect for a consumer-sided business that a lot of the marketing and the brand makes the thing click. And now you found something that starts growing by itself. Are the members talking to each other about what you've been doing? Is it the other side of the marketplace that got what you're doing as well? What happened? Because
I think you deliver a completely different product. So I think it's not specifically your ICP or whatsoever. It's just like you're delivering something what is needed or what people are willing to buy. That's a big change. I only have one question about it before we bump into the next subject. How long did it take from the start to that moment?
I think like I'm really bad at dates, but I think like 1 year or so, like 1.5 year.
1.5
probably
year.
no, maybe even 2.
2 years of hard struggles.
Yeah, I think 2 years.
And how do
Because
you?
also we did like a television campaign with the previous concept. I mean, we were crazy. I mean, like literally, we bought like super cheap with SBS back then, but like insane. I mean, if I think back now, I think, what the fuck you guys were doing, man? It was like literally insane.
Yeah, but that's where the stories come from. So
it
is a nice experience.
No, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So tell me about this. It's growing, growing, and growing. When do you think, okay, so now I got 200 members. What's the next step, right? So the two of you, small team. When do you scale this up?
So, I mean, I think we both are like, we like to think big, We said, okay, we want to be like...
Yeah, that's why I did the TV
global
commercial.
player,
Yeah,
we were global player. I said, fuck it, man, we're going to be... First, let's go for Europe. Let's be the biggest of Europe. Because there were already like competitors popping up here and there. So we felt like, okay, we have the coolest brand. We have the coolest product. Let's be the biggest player of Europe. And then we went for VC money. Which was still, I mean, for us, a struggle. I mean, it wasn't that easy. But we, in the end, found... we're super happy that we, got money from Peak Capital.
Yep.
A second fund. And then also like, Johan and Stefan were back then like really hands-on, I would say. So it was really helpful for us. So especially Stefan pushed us like really hard on data, cohorts. How do cohorts look like? So no, I mean, we learned a lot, in that period. And then we scaled from, Amsterdam to the other big, larger Dutch cities. And then went to Germany. Let's go to Germany. We went to Cologne and Hamburg. That was we had to do it all over again, figure out the market. Like, oh man,
Different country, different culture.
different country, different culture, different supply. That was not so fun.
In all this, does your product mean a lot? How it actually works? I mean, your tech, does it matter at that point? Because you started out thinking, okay, I'm going to do hardware, I'm going to do RFID, I'm going to bleep myself into the gym, and then you get to this point where you become an app and a marketplace. Does it really matter a lot how that works? Because Peak is a tech investor as well.
Well, yes and no. I mean, there was also like a B2B player in Germany that had like a piece of paper, or maybe even a list. But Germany is different because they were still are sometimes like behind in tech.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Germany is different, but they were super successful selling this piece of paper that you can enter like multiple gyms.
So for this market,
Already before all these tech companies already existed. So is it necessary? I think for a specific audience it is. But I think their audience was, that's what I'm guessing, I don't know, but I guess their audience was different. But yeah, is it necessary?
I can imagine you get a lot of data from this, right? So once you get a VC in and they're talking about cohorts and they're talking about data, I can imagine a lot of that also comes from the tech you use, how your users use the tech. On the other end of your marketplace, there are gyms. I mean, they must be interested in how much they look at their classes or visit them. Is that data and tech something you guys scaled with, or is it, you would just say, secondary to whatever you guys did?
No, we didn't. I mean, yes, we looked at the cohorts, and then we did like multiple tests. For instance, like first month for free, and then see what the churn is. And on the second month, we saw like a huge drop, and then we calculate like cost per acquisition and customer lifetime value based on those numbers. So is it worthwhile to do like first month for free?
So it's really
like
marketing data, for the sales part.
Yeah. So that works a lot, and also like what kind of classes are popular? Can we get more inventory? Also, we connected to Mind Body, and then you could also see like how much rest inventory is there, so we know how we can push the suppliers say, hey, listen, this is our price. If you don't want to do that, then, I mean, we all had that data. So we use that to make better decisions.
In the end, it was a growth game. Who could be the biggest player in Europe?
Yeah, and then supply drives demand. I mean, that's pretty much how it works. And I think most of the marketplaces, supply drives demand. And that's also like something that we had to learn. I mean, we didn't know we thought like demand, drive supply. I don't know why we thought that, but it took us some time to figure out like, hey, let's really focus on supply.
Damn.
And demand will follow.
There you go.
Yeah, it sounds like a really bumpy ride. And then in the end, you make your exit and you think, let's do it again.
Yeah.
Take us toward that route, right?
Yeah.
Look,
How was the route from that moment that you think, oh, now it's successful. Okay, let's sell it. Let's do it again.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't really even a choice to sell it. Actually, well, in the end, it was a choice. But it was in 2000, like early 2019. So then we had to do like a next funding round.
Yeah.
So we had like Peak, we had Incaf, and then we wanted to do like a big round for us, like big round, 50 million or so. But then also like ClassPass came from the US to London to Amsterdam, and literally like attacking us with the huge campaign in the city, like, hey, there's more than one way to get fit. So like that was not really ideal in our home market. We got attacked by an American player who just raised like 275 million. And then we had Gympass from Brazil.
Yep.
Also like really more focused on the B2B market, but they were funded by SoftBank, 500 million. And then we had Urban Sports Club from Germany, funded by Rocket Internet, Holzbrink Ventures, Partech, also like pretty big VCs, European VCs.
The piggy bank is full.
So then, of course, we had like great performance based on the money that we raised. I think also because we were in talks with Urban Sports Club, so we saw their numbers and the money that they raised and how many members they had. We felt we do way better, But still, for us, it was like really difficult conversations. So how are you going to beat those guys? Yeah, we have an awesome product. We have great performance.
Yeah, but they're in your backyard.
Yeah. So that was like really, really difficult. And there was the first moment I thought, fuck, now what? Fuck, this is like really shit. No, we have this team of 70 people, and that we burning money because we weren't even close to profitability back then. So that was the first time I had like, I woke up at night and said, fuck, now what? And then we got lucky because 3 of them like all contacted us at the same time. So hey, we want to acquire you guys. And then then you
start
have
the
3 term sheets on the table. Then you can play them out. So then me and Serge, we even try to combine like the smaller aggregators in Europe, because there was one in Stockholm, there was a good one in Italy, one in Paris, and we said, okay, if we combine those,
we can play this game as well.
We are the biggest player by far in Europe, and then we combine, we can just raise the money. So we went to visit all those entrepreneurs. By Mission Impossible.
Yeah, no appetite.
They had appetite, but it was dragging. It was eating up a lot of our time.
Yeah, so it's time consuming for sure.
Yeah. So we said, okay, fuck it. And then they knocked on our doors, and they all wanted to buy us.
So it took like a day to think about it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that. Because you spend all your love and passion and time, and you spend all your life into it, right? So it's not really easy to sell. It's not okay. Fuck it, let's sell it. It's a difficult decision. But once I took at least a decision, I was like totally fine with it. But it was a not easy decision.
What was the one thing that made you say, okay, now is the time to do it? Because if you talk to it. Take us to those spaces, right? Market is coming closer in your backyard. There's competitors all around you, right? They're basically raising their swords towards you.
Yeah.
And there's 3 players around you. Say, hey, we'd like to do this thing. What's the one thing that made you decide, yes, I'm going to sell, or I'm going to compete again, right?
I couldn't come up with an answer. Normally, I'm pretty creative. I'm really strategic and creative, and I always find a solution for every problem. I couldn't find a solution for this problem. I couldn't find a way or a story that we need to have to raise capital against, like, if 3 competitors, big ones, come into your own market. I said, what's the story then? I have no idea. I couldn't come up with the reason. We weren't profitable. We couldn't bootstrap, so we need cash to continue. So that was pretty much
Just the route to go. Yeah.
So this was for me was okay, that's the only way to go.
Damn. Well, and then comes this point, huh?
The turning point. You sell it. Let's dive into your next adventure. How did that?
It's been a while, right? When you sold it, it's like 4 years ago.
Yeah, 2009, September 2009, just before COVID. Yeah. So it was again lucky, I guess.
Yeah, you could have known. Yeah.
And then I worked for the company for 2 years. I can feel like a whole podcast around there if you want.
next time.
Yeah. And then I decided to quit. And then I spent time with my family, which was awesome. I could really recommend if you have the opportunity to do it. Like, really nice to just.
How long did you take? Take like a year off? Or?
No, 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months. It was like really nice. And then we were like both, Serge and I, we had like a super click. So we felt like, hey, let's do it again, man. Let's go for something new. But we didn't have an idea that already cooked within us for quite some time. So we went from prop tech to health tech stuff to fitness. We came up with like a million ideas. And then we spent like quite a lot of months iterating on those ideas and figuring out, diving into the data and, researching. And every time we felt like, I don't know, man, about this one. But it took us like 4 or 5 months to come to that point from, this is not gonna cut it. So then I think, man, this is frustrating. And then I said, okay, I was like helping startups, talking to them, helping them out a little bit. And this is what I like, but it didn't, I made a nice exit, but it wasn't the case that, I could just now chill for the rest of my life.
Would you?
No, and also you probably don't, I wouldn't want to. So then I said, like, okay, let's take some time off. Like, I was doing some consultancy work for a small business, helping them out, how to grow. It was more of an MKB company.
Sure.
It was kind of fun. It was totally new for me, different market. Like, it was funny to see. But then I felt like, okay, this is not going to cut it. This is not going to do it for me. And then Serge, in the meantime, at some point, Serge found one of his friends, people he knew around the Den Haag area, Scheveningen, had a business, and then Serge jumped on that train. Yep. I was like, damn, buddy, what you doing? But I didn't tell him. I said, hey, yeah, good, man, do that. Good for you. Good, happy that you find something. But I was also on the other end. I said, damn, now what? My buddy left to another company. So then me and my former CTO guy went to Bitfavo after the merger with Urban Sports Club. Super successful there as well, of course. And then we always stayed in contact, pretty close. And then we were iterating on ideas as well. So we had a brainstorm session every like 2 months or so.
Damn, you take notes? Did you take notes of all those sessions? It sounds like a year of ID building, right?
No, it took quite a while actually to come up with something new. And then we were tracking like the AI, how it develops, and then how it developed, and also like how people are using social media for trip planning and exploring and figuring out new stuff. And then we got both really excited after trips that we made, like so difficult, man. You spend so much time on planning your trip and figuring out what to do and what to book and planes and, where to stay and prices and compare.
How long did you stay on the phone last night?
I'd spent an hour trying to rebook a flight.
Yeah, exactly.
Just one
it's
small
horrible.
thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's only a flight, which is,
Shouldn't be hard. It is.
It's from A to B, right? So you have price and you have,
Is it the easiest thing of the entire travel itinerary? Sure.
Yeah. So every time for me also it's a nightmare, man, to align with my wife and thinking about the kids and what we need and where we go and what to book. And if we figure out what to book, then it's not available. I know. So it was and then we felt like, okay, social media, AI should be able to somehow solve this problem, right? And then we start thinking about it, and then at some point, let's go, man. Let's try to crack this nut.
And you're not doing that, right? So I'm used to whenever I build a business or we build a business, we do some rigorous validation, right? We try to figure out as much as we can before we even start a company.
Yeah.
This feels like you are having this pain, right? And decided this is the thing to do. Did you do any validation beyond that to see if this could work before actually starting the company?
Yeah, we did. Of course, we did some, but still, we did some validation. But also, I think I'm more like in the beginning, especially in the beginning, because I know, like in the end, the product is not going to look like at all as
where you're currently thinking about.
When you start something up.
Yeah. So get going, get the fire going.
Yeah, just get going, because I think the biggest problem is just do it. I mean, I talk to so many people say, I have a great idea. Oh, no, awesome, man. Just go do it. Shut up talking, just do it. And then, no, I don't know, man. I don't know. And they start like, I need more proof. I need more data points to prove that I'm right. What do you think? You're going to build like the next, I don't know, Facebook or something? Just go, man, and just see where it takes you.
And then take me to this one. So you're going with this. You're launching soon, right? So you're in the building phases of this company.
Yeah.
And you drop the word AI, right? So always careful. When you say AI, the half of the people get mad, the other get excited.
Yeah, and you're in the middle of the hype. So yeah, now all eyes on you.
Yeah, so what does that change in terms of the product, right? So what does AI do for you guys today that couldn't be solved yesterday? Because I'm just assuming here, travel market is huge. Booking.com, of course, is also in Amsterdam, right?
Yeah.
So everybody's looking into this. What makes this different? Why is it so hard to crack? And why is AI it?
I think it's not just AI what's solving the problem. Because, I mean, AI is nice, and I think already quite some people use ChatGPT to come up with trip ideas. So that's just one part of it. I think what's really nice about AI, you can search super fast, right? So, I mean, if you're looking at a hotel and you can ask, hey, how's the neighborhood? And you get an answer.
Yeah.
In a split second, hey, the neighborhood's safe. Or is it a good area for my kids? Yes, awesome area because you have blah, 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 blah. And I think that's a really new thing to travel, that you can get like information which is relevant to you super fast. At least for travel, I would say. Also, I believe you don't have to expect like magic to happen. When you ask a prompt and say, "Whoa, now I'm getting something that I never would have thought of." That's not the case. It's not going to be like mind blowing. So, wow, this is awesome. I was listening to a podcast of the guy from Blendel.
Yeah.
And he mentioned Luna or something. And so I tried it. I tested it and I just said, okay, I wanted to have a song for Voyin. So I just prompt him some stuff. And I wanted to sound like R&B, hip hop, dance kind of song. And it just pooped out like, I don't know, 7 different songs.
Yep.
Which was that was, for me, was mind blowing. I think in that space, man, it's mind blowing what they can do.
Why doesn't that work in travel for you? Because I can imagine this is the hardest part, right? It's aligning and all that stuff, where to go, what to do. I mean, if you have that data, can you get to that magic moment? I mean, if you would make travel easy, I mean, you're going to save a lot of relationships.
But don't you also think that like you are now in the middle of this problem? You're researching a lot. You're probably thinking of all your competitors, and you are fully in that mindset. But like, if I'm now like a lake willing to book something through your platform, what's going to be launched soon, then like my expectations and the thing what I will like see at that point in time that I'm searching is for me it might be mind blowing.
No, true. No, maybe you're right. So initially the idea was, okay, hey, let's replace like the old school, trip agent where you would go like the brick and mortar,
Yep.
like kind of, travel agent.
Go
You
there with your
you
coffee.
get like nice books. It's okay. Well, what's your budget? You can go here and this and this and this. I can book you the hotel.
People still do that.
People still do
Yeah.
that, right? So it's
A
still
lot.
happening.
Yeah.
It's happening, and we said, okay, can we replace like the old school, brick and mortar travel agent? Can we make that happen? Can we? But it's pretty big, huh? It's like huge. You have flights, you have accommodations, you have where to go, and
It's the combination
so
of
we need
everything.
to chop it up in little pieces in order to. Because of course those big players can have more, more budget, more data, more resources to build something, and I think we should like really focus on like a small niche. Go there, like try to really solve a problem for those people in a specific way, and then build it from there. And then we can succeed. Otherwise, if we just go like, it was funny because in the beginning I was talking to investors. Yeah, cool, man. You have to do flights. You have to do like accommodation. You have to do this. And then, yeah, cool. Sounds really great. Yeah,
Too much.
man.
Panic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really need to focus, on something like really specific. Otherwise, the competition will
City
kill
by
you.
city, country by country. There you go.
Yeah, but that's different with travel because you can tap into like an already existing infrastructure. So with Onefit, it was like really like a local marketplace, which you had to build like locally. And so also the international network effects weren't that big. Because if you had something in Amsterdam, even in Utrecht, nobody really cared about you because you didn't have nothing in Utrecht.
Yeah.
And with travel, it
It doesn't really matter. People fly all over the world.
Yeah, everybody goes everywhere. So I mean, if you focus on Amsterdam, then what you gonna focus on? Like people traveling to Amsterdam. So then you have to, you have to market yourself like everywhere in the world, or are you really focusing on people from the Netherlands traveling everywhere in the world? I mean, it's both difficult.
So look, I'm thinking of this, right? So what kind of learnings are you taking to Voya now, which you got from your Onefit time, which you believe make all the difference, right? What's the one thing you're doing today? Because, I mean, you had this great journey from start to finish, right? I'm imagining you want to skip a few steps now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's that one thing you took to the table here in Voya? I think, okay, so now I'm going to do this differently so that I would say this struggle is not there anymore or less.
So it's always a struggle. It's never easy. But I think what we do different is like we iterate extremely fast. So we have an idea, we build like something, and in travel it's quite difficult to build something like which is nothing. You have to already spend quite some time to come up with an MVP, to create an MVP. So that's and in order to do that, you need some cash. You have to be able to fundraise. But now what we do different than back then was like we iterate like extremely fast, and we started only iterating super fast after a few years with Onefit.
Cool. Well, very interesting learning. Look, we're getting to the end of this.
Yeah.
And every time we're here at the podcast, we're asking, the guest at that time an interesting question to ask the next guest, right? You don't know who it's gonna be. Actually, I think he's already here, but we're gonna ask you this question we got from Friday. If you look back, would you have done things differently with the knowledge you have now? And after that, of course, we're also gonna talk about the question you wanna pose for the next guest.
Yeah.
But looking back, would you have done things differently with the knowledge you have now?
That's an easy one, huh?
I think
It's
so.
an easy question.
Well, go
You
ahead.
talked about so many.
But not. No, definitely. Yeah, of course. I would done like so many things differently.
Yeah.
Hirings, I mean, like wouldn't sack people earlier if you already get the gut feeling this is not going to work. I mean, test first, iterate faster.
So what not is basically
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Made so many mistakes. Like,
right. Well, then let's try to figure out for the next guest what would you like to ask them, right? And maybe it's best that we cannot answer it with what not. So, what would you like to ask?
No, I was listening to a podcast of LeBron James and JJ Redick. The Love of the Game is called.
Yeah, nice.
And LeBron said like, hey, man, I sacrificed my loved ones. And then was like, yeah, man, he's right. You have to sacrifice so many stuff, right, to be successful. And he sacrificed his friends, his family, his kids, his wife, in order to do what he loves to do. And it's like super selfish, And then I think what stood with me is like, you need to be willing to sacrifice a lot if you want to be successful. So my question would be, how much are you willing to sacrifice? When does it stop for you?
All right. So I think we're rounding this one off then.
First of all, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. It was such a pleasure to have a chat with you and to get to know you.
Same.
And let's continue the conversation after this. But thanks again.
Well, at that, thanks again for tuning into the Playbook podcast. Today we talked to Camille. I mean, what's there not to learn, right? I think what I got out of this small conversation most is not only the energy Camille brings to the table when he's just at the table. I mean, I can imagine people would just invest for that reason. But mostly, never quit, right? Not even when it gets hard, you keep going. That's the spirit here. And then what I liked about that is, throughout the entire conversation, you just got to get going. So it's not never quitting and not doing anything. Get into action and keep going. So I don't think there's anything more important to learn in life. So thank you again for tuning in. This was me, myself, Michael, and Sharon from Builders, where we empower entrepreneurs to build stellar companies. See you next time.